Good morning students and welcome to our revision lecture for class 8th. So dear student, as you know, we have already completed our all 9 chapter for essay 1 and specially we arranged this revision lecture for you people. So as you know, we will start with chapter number 1. This is the arrival of European in India. As we all know, India was considered as the golden sparrow. India was the only country which produced a number of things. India is the origin of almost all art, form, science and so on. So from ancient time, since ancient time, number of people, number of foreigners came to our country for the different purpose. They came to our country for the trade, they came to our country for the business. They were having the very good cordial relation with our rulers of that time. So as you remember, we are discussing about the number of points, like last chapter we discussed about the revolt, first freedom struggle of India. Even we know the different foreigner like the Dutchies, French, Britisher, they came to our country for the different purpose at different period of time. Then they settled to our country. So here we will try to understand what type, how they came to our country, who were the different foreigner who came to our country. Okay. See, we have learned in the previous standard that in class 7th we talk about the medieval history. If you remember, then in class 7th we talk about the medieval history. So we have learned in the previous standard that many years ago our country was one of the leading country in the world, जिसको हम कहते हैं विश्व गुरु. Our India was considered as the Vishwa Guru, as India was considered as the sources, main sources of the number of thing. So since ancient time, number of countries, number of foreigner, they came to our country. Now our country was distinct in the whole world. The people of various countries were being influenced by our culture and prosperity. If you remember that we talk about the Britisher, they came to our country to capture our wealth. भारत की wealth, संपत्तियों को देख के, संपत्ति को देख के, number of foreigner they came to country. So many people worldwide were eager to enter into the threat with our country and earn wealth out of it. They want to earn a wealth from our country. They want to collect the wealth from our country in any way. Yes. So earlier the merchant from the various countries came to India from northwest by the land route for the purpose of trading. Now if you remember, at the previous time Arabs was the first one who came to our country. अरबस्तान के लोग, Arabs traders थे, they were the first who came to our country for the business. So the Arab trader undertook trade through the land route, but as situated changes, trade through the land route stopped due to the number of factors. Now the Arabs who came to our country by the land route, that was stopped. अरब के लोग हमारे देश में आते थे बिजनेस करने के लिए, बट वो रास्ते से आते थे, जमीन मार्ग से आते थे. बट ड्यू टू नंबर ऑफ प्रॉब्लम द लैंड रूट वाज स्टॉप्ड. नाउ द ट्रेडर्स they have to explorer have to find the new route for India. तो दरियाई मार्ग खोजने की उनको जरूरत वहां पे हुई. So consequently, the demand for the Indian commodities like the silk, cotton, cloth, muslin, black pepper, spices are increased in the European countries. Now due to this, that the land route was stopped by number of reasons. Now the shortage of the silk and the muslin and the black pepper and the spices was increased in the European market. So the explorer, so the businessman have to find out, they need to find out the sea route. And that is what the reason why the different explorer try to explore our country, that is the India. So to take the advantage of the situation, many countries of Europe start searching for the sea route to the India. Now see student, can you see the map which is given in your textbook page number 1? So if you see that the sea and the land route and the newly discovered sea route, if you can find out that the Portugal, then from the Portugal Lebanon is Lisbon is given, then the Baghdad, that is a place from the Afghanistan, then the India, Calicut, the Cochin, Iran, Istanbul, Constantinople. Yes, so this all are the major places from where it was started. Now can you answer me few questions? Which areas are to be crossed to reach India from Europe by the land route? If anyone, or in the earlier time when the Europeans wants to enter our country, so what land route they have to cross? So in the map here you can see what answer we can give, that they have to cross the Alexandria, Iraq, Arabia, Baghdad, that is the Afghanistan, and the Iran, and then they can enter to our country or the mainland. Then which areas are to be crossed to reach India from the Portugal by the sea route? So again you have to see the sea route or this map. So from Portugal they have to come to the South Africa, that is the Cape of Good Hope. Yes, so from the Cape of Good Hope they have to come the Mozambique, and from the Mozambique they can enter to the Cochin or the Calicut. Yes, so this will be the sea route for that, the who came from the sea route. Then which mode of transportation is used to maximum to the travel abroad in the modern time? Nowadays we are using the air transportation, but as we know, water transportation is the cheapest mean of transportation. Okay, so subsequently some adventurous sailor of Europe and other countries started the search of the sea route to the come to India. So number of explorer, they came to our country for the different purpose and they use a sea route. Now Christopher Columbus. Now one by one we will going to discuss about the sailor who tried to conquer the land of India. So first is the Christopher Columbus. So Columbus, an Italian explorer. This point you have to mark it, you have to underline it. So Columbus, an Italian explorer, was one of the brave sailors who ventured out to find the sea route to India. Christopher Columbus, actually he wants to come to India, but accidentally he searched and he explored the America. So he thought that one can go to the east via west also. So as earth is in the spherical shape, so he was having the mind that one can go to the east via west also. So why did he believe? As earth is in spherical shape. Now think about the Columbus started his journey to India and accidentally reached to the America. Now Christopher Columbus आया था क्या, निकला था क्या ढूंढने? वो निकला था भारत देश को ढूंढने, but accidentally he reached to America. As long as he lived, he was under the misconception that he had discovered the sea route to India. अब जब तक वो जिंदा रहा तब तक उसने यही समझा था कि उसने भारत को ढूंढा है. He have the misconception. He has the misconception that he discovered the India. That was actually America, but he thought that it is India. Okay. So, hence even today the natives of America are called the Red Indians. अब क्रिस्टोफर कोलंबस जिस जमीन पे गया था इसको हम आज अमेरिका कहते हैं, बट ही थॉट दैट इट इज इंडिया. So he gave the name to the native of that country as a Red Indian. आज भी अमेरिका के मूल निवासी आदिवासियों को क्या कहा जाता है? Red Indians. As he have the misconception that he found the India. An island group of the Caribbean is known as the West Indies. Underlined. It is very important. The island group in the Caribbean is known as the West Indies. Now students, you know, you all of the fond of the cricket. वेस्ट इंडीज की क्रिकेट की टीम के बारे में आपको पता है. यस, सो क्रिस्टोफर कोलंबस, लाइक यू नो, कि उसको लगा था कि द वेस्ट पार्ट ही फाउंड दैट इट इज इंडिया एंड द नेम द कैरेबियन आइलैंड को इट इज नेम गिवन एज द वेस्ट इंडीज, दो इट वॉज नॉट इंडिया बट द नेम व्हाट इट वॉज गिवन टू द वेस्ट टू द इंडिया as he found the America, and then he gave the name as the West Indies. So Christopher Columbus, Italian sailor, he found the America. This many point you have to keep in mind. Then comes the Vasco da Gama. Okay, so Vasco da Gama, a native of Portugal. Now this point you have to keep in mind. Christopher Columbus was the Italian and the Vasco da Gama was the Portuguese. He was the native of Portugal. Discovered the sea route to India. He encircled the Cape of Good Hope in South Africa and reached the port of Calicut on 22nd May 1498. This date you have to keep in mind. So it is 22nd May 1498. This date and year you have to keep in mind. When we talk about the Vasco da Gama, he was a Portuguese and he discovered the sea route. But एक यहाँ पे मजे की बात जो आपको पता होनी चाहिए, वास्को द गामा कैप ऑफ गुड होप तक ही पहुंचा था. फिर उसको भारत का रास्ता इब्न मजीद नाम के एक भारतीय सेलर ने ही बताया था. Okay, so this is the extra point what you should know, and it is for your general information. So he reached the port of Calicut. See, ये कलकत्ता नहीं है, ये है Calicut, and you can see in your map it is in the south of India. So he reached to the port of Calicut on 22nd May 1498 after crossing the Indian Ocean. Then ruling king of the Calicut, Zamorin, gave the permission to the Portuguese to the trade. Ab Vasco da Gama, 22nd May 1498, he reached to the Calicut. Okay, and at that time Calicut was ruled by the Zamorin, King Zamorin. So it was ruled by the King Zamorin, and he gave the permission to the Portuguese, means the Vasco da Gama, for the business and trade. The Portuguese established a fort in Calicut for the trade in 1500. Now this is also underlined. This is also the important point. Vasco da Gama entered to our country. He reached to our country on 22nd May 1498, and the Portuguese established their first business trade and Calicut in the year of 1500. So they fortified it and appointed a commander-in-chief, namely the Alberca. Now, see, they fortified it. Fortified मतलब क्या? उन्होंने किलेबंदी की. किसकी? उनके ट्रेड सेंटर की. किसने की? पोर्चुगीसों ने. So the Portuguese established a fort in Calicut for the trade in 1500, and they fortified it and appointed a commander-chief, namely the Albuquerque, to safeguard the fort. Moving northward, Albuquerque and conquered the Goa in 1506. Within a span of 100 years, a Portuguese took control of the Mangalore, Cochin, Goa, Diu, Mumbai, island of Lanka. इतनी जगह पे पोर्चुगीसों का साम्राज्य बन गया. The place you have to remember that are the Mangalore, Cochin, Goa, Diu and Mumbai. Now see, if you go with the map of country, so this is the entire part of the, this is the southern region, this is the northern part, and this is the Gujarat, if we can say, and this is the eastern part. So this is the western and this is the eastern. So whatever the places what I have discussed and what we have learned, This all are in the southwest area. So this point you should keep in mind. So the Portuguese established a fort in Calicut in 1500. That point you have to understand. Now end of the Portuguese rule. Now see, the Mangalore, Cochin, Goa, Diu, Mumbai, and even in the Calicut, they control. The Portuguese had a control. But what was the reason of the decline of this Portuguese empire? So in the beginning of the 17th century, the Portuguese expanded their trade to the Bengal. At this time, the Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan ruled in India from Delhi. If you remember, in class 7th, we have talked about the Mughal Empire. Mughal Empire started by the Babur, then Humayun, then Akbar, then Jahangir, and Jahangir's son was Shah Jahan. So when Portuguese was ruling and they had a business with the Bengal, at that time the Mughal king was the Shah Jahan. So the Subedar of Bengal complained to Shah Jahan about the behavior of the Portuguese. Now at that time the province was under control of the Mughals, and the Subedar means the minister of the Shah Jahan complained the behavior of the Portuguese, and thus for the Hooghly was demolished and the ships were burnt as per the order of the emperor. Hooghly नदी है, मतलब गंगा नदी का ये दूसरा नाम, इट्स ट्रिब्यूटरी रिवर. ओके, सो पोर्चुगीजों की एक शिप जो हुगली नदी से जा रही थी, विद द ऑर्डर ऑफ एम्परर शाहजहां, इट वाज बर्न्ड. And this way, the Portuguese rule came to end with the exception of the territories of the Diu, Daman and Goa. अब दीव दमन और गोवा को छोड़ के, यहाँ पे दीव है, दीव दमन गुजरात की टेरिटरी है, एंड गोवा फ्यू पार्ट, ये तीन जगह को छोड़ के पोर्चुगलों का साम्राज्य पूरा खत्म कर दिया गया. अब आए द डच. सबसे पहले किसने कोशिश की? इटालियन सेलर. The Christopher Columbus accidentally found the America. Then comes the Vasco da Gama, the Portuguese sailor. Now within a few years of span, they lost their territories, and then comes the Dutch. So after 100 years of arrival of the Portuguese at the end of the 16th century, the Dutch of Holland, now called the Netherlands, पहले उसको हॉलैंड कहा जाता था, अब उसको नेदरलैंड के नाम से पहचाना जाता है, came to India for the trading. Obviously, like the Italian, like the Portuguese, even they came to our country for the business purpose. So at the end of the 16th century, the Dutch of Holland, now it is called the Netherlands. So ये Holland, मतलब आपको याद रखना चाहिए Netherlands, came to India for the trading, and initially they established a fort at the Pulicat and the Madras, now called the Chennai. Pulicat और the Madras में डचीज लोगों ने अपना साम्राज्य शुरू किया. They also established a trading center at Agra in the year of 1663, and meanwhile the British also arrived in India. So the Dutch could not withstand the competition against the British. Now that was also the reason this was the time of the arrival of the Britisher. So even like the Portuguese, Dutchies also didn't compete with the Britisher, and they lost their territories. So see again, after the 100 year of the arrival of the Portuguese, पोर्चुगीसों के आने के बाद 100 साल के बाद डचीस आए, and they basically from the Holland, okay, and present day we say as a Netherland, and obviously they also came for the business purpose only. They established a fort and the Madras. आज हम जिसको चेन्नई के नाम से जानते हैं, उसका पुराना नाम था मद्रास. So they came to the and they established a fort, किले बनाए थे कहाँ पे? So it's a Pulicat and the Madras, now called the Chennai. And they also established a trading center at the Agra in the year of 1663. So this year also you should keep in mind 1663, that as we are talking about the Duchess. Okay. And meanwhile the British also arrived in India, and that was the time in the reign of Jahangir only. Reign of Jahangir. जहांगीर के समय में कैप्टन हॉकिंस आया था. That what we have learned. 1614 में कैप्टन हॉकिंस आया था. कौन से शिप में बैठ के? कौन से शिप में बैठ के? इट्स अ विक्टर. मैंने आपको क्लास में भी समझाया था कौन बनेगा करोड़पति में, 1 करोड़ का सवाल था. सबसे पहले भारत कौन सा ब्रिटिशर आया था? ही वॉज द कैप्टन हॉकिंस. और कौन सी शिप में बैठ के आया था? द शिप नेम वॉज अ हेक्टर. सो दैट वॉज द टाइम दैट द ब्रिटिशर ऑल्सो came to our country, and that was the one of the reason why Dutchies also lose their place. Now the Dutch could not withstand the competition against the British. और ब्रिटिशरों के सामने डचीज भी हारे और पोर्चुगीज भी हारा. Now British interest in India. Now the story comes, or the question should arise कि why Britisher wants to come to our country, why they conquered, how they conquered our country, what was the reason that they ruled to our country for more than 190 years. ऐसा क्या था हमारे देश में कि अंग्रेज, डचेस, पोर्चुगीज हमारे देश में क्यों आए? Why they want to control our country? So the question says the British interest in India. ब्रिटिशरों का क्या फायदा था? What was the interest? So during the reign of Queen Elizabeth of England in the year 1600, the British established the East India Company. एक कंपनी बनाई गई when the Queen Elizabeth, she was a queen of the country, and the year of 1600. So another date आपको याद रखनी है, 1600 की साल. And British East India Company. Okay, so British East India Company. So that was the year of 1600. Okay, so that is the 1600. So in British East India Company, and it was established in 1600. Okay. So this company belongs to the merchants who wants to increase their wealth by undertaking trade with the India. Now who established this this company? It was established by the British merchants. Merchants matlab what? Businessmen who wants to do the business with the country. They established the British East India Company in the year of 1600. By whom? Merchants of Britain in the year of 1600, and that time Elizabeth was the British Queen. Okay, so the first British ship arrived in India at the port of Surat in 1608. So another important date, 1608, when the reign of the Jahangir. So the first British ship arrived in India at the port of Surat. कहाँ पे आया? सूरत पे. सबसे पहला जहाज कहाँ पे आया? सूरत पे, 1608 में. So the first British ship arrived in India at the port of Surat in the year of 1608. Captain Hawkins, the captain of the ship, was the first British to set foot in India. सबसे पहला अंग्रेज जो भारत आया था कौन था? Captain Hawkins. He made Jahangir but did not get the permission to trade. पहली बार आया तो जहांगीर ने उनको बिजनेस की सम्मति नहीं दी. Thereafter Sir Thomas Roe arrived in India, who acquired the permission to establish a trading center in the Surat. उसके बाद कैप्टन हॉकिंस के बाद आया सर थॉमस रो, और जिसने जहांगीर से वापस परमिशन मांगी and he got the permission. Later the Delhi went into the hand of the Shahjahan. Shahjahan gave permission to the British to carry out trade in Bengal. और शाहजहाँ के समय में सबसे पहले उनको बंगाल के अंदर बिजनेस करने की सम्मति मिली. Okay, now comes the French. See, the French established the French East India Company. जैसे ये ब्रिटिश ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी थी, ऐसे ही फ्रेंच के लोगों ने, फ्रांस के लोगों ने फ्रेंच ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी एस्टैब्लिश की. सो द फ्रेंच established the French East Indian Company in the year of 1664. तो और एक नई डेट आई 1664. See student, this all dates are very important as we talk about the history, as we are learning the history. So this all dates are very important. So the French established the French East India Company in the year of 1664. They established the factories in Surat, Machilipatnam and Puducherry. Nowadays we say Puducherry, actually Pondicherry bhi naam hai, and Machilipatnam, and it's called the Machilipatnam as well. So they established the factories in Surat, Machilipatnam and Puducherry, and the head of the French company was the Joseph Francisco Dupleix. अब कौन था इसका नेता? डुप्लेक्स, ये आपको याद रखना है. So the head of this company was Joseph Francisco Dupleix, who had the desire to expand the European rule in India. अब ये जो डुप्लेक्स था उसको भारत में फ्रांस की सरकार बनाने की और सत्ता फैलाने की उसकी कोशिश रही. Thus, the French and the British stood in the competition against each other to become the strongest European company. Now, already British East India Company was there, and in 1664, this French East India Company was also set up. So now they had a competition among them, Britisher and amongst the French. Both they want to conquer the country and they want to establish their power in our country. So there were innumerable disputes and battles, and finally the British emerged as the winner. बहुत सारे युद्ध हुए, बहुत सारे झगड़े हुए, and ultimately French और British में कौन जीता? Britisher. So Britisher emerged as a winner. And however, the French retained their control over the trading center of Puducherry, Mahe and Chandnagar. फिर भी 3-4 ऐसी प्लेसेस थी जहाँ पर आखिर तक फ्रेंच लोगों ने अपना कब्जा किया हुआ था. Now, first point and the important point, British trade in India. How the traders become the ruler, the chapter what we have learned also. Yes, if you remember, this point we have learned also, how the traders become the ruler. So next point what we will going to discuss is about how they, like the British trade in Bengal, how they start their so British first started their trade on the bank of the river Hooghly and established fort in the year 1651. Britishers started their business, and the Britisher first started their trade on the bank of the river Hooghly. Hooghly क्या है? नदी है. कौन सी ट्रिब्यूटरी है किसकी नदी की? इट इज अ गंगा की ट्रिब्यूटरी है. गंगा को बंगाल में हुगली के नाम से पहचाना जाता है. ओके, सो द ब्रिटिश फर्स्ट स्टार्टेड देयर ट्रेडर ऑन द बैंक ऑफ रिवर हुगली एंड एस्टैब्लिश फोर्ट. एस्टैब्लिश फोर्ट मतलब क्या? किला बनाया. कहाँ पे? इन द ईयर 1651. 1651 में सबसे पहला अंग्रेजों ने फोर्ट कहाँ बनाया? बंगाल में. The fort were garrisoned for their protection of the factory and got the permission from the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb to trade without paying taxes against an annual payment. सबसे पहले अंग्रेज किसके राज्य में आए थे? जहांगीर के. वर्क परमिशन कब मिली? शाहजहां के समय में. एंड नाउ दिस इज द टाइम ऑफ औरंगजेब. शाहजहां का बेटा था औरंगजेब. So Britisher first started their trade on the bank of the river Hooghly and established the fort in the year of 1651. So the fort were garrisoned for their protection of the factory and got the permission from the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb. So to trade without paying the tax. ट्रेड कर सकते थे बिना टैक्स के एंड एनुअल पेमेंट. कुछ भी टैक्स या तो एनुअल पेमेंट न करते हुए भी ब्रिटिशरों को औरंगजेब ने बिजनेस करने की सत्ता दी यहाँ पे. नाउ सी थिंक, डू द मर्चेंट फ्रॉम फॉरेन कंट्री सीक परमिशन टू डू सच अ ट्रेड इन इंडिया इन टुडे टाइम? आज के समय में अगर कोई दूसरे देश की कंपनी है तो उसको परमिशन चाहिए बिजनेस करने के लिए. यस, दे हैव टू टेक अ परमिशन फ्रॉम द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट. यस, सो see expansion of the British rule between 1757 and 1857. आपको 3 मैप वहाँ पे दिए हैं और वहाँ पे तीनों मैप में से आप देख सकते हो कि किस तरह से भारत के अंदर अंग्रेज कैसे आए, पहले कितना छोटा पोर्शन था, एंड देन दे एक्वायर्ड एंटायर इंडिया. See, by this time the East India Company was in the race to earn the more and more money. As per the order passes in the Bengal, only the company availed the benefit of tax-free trading. अब साल होते होते ब्रिटिश ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी इतनी पावरफुल हो गई और औरंगजेब ने एज दे अलाउड टू लाइक डू द बिजनेस विदाउट पेइंग द टैक्स. सो अंग्रेज ही एक ऐसे फॉरेनर रहे कि जिनको कोई टैक्स या तो कोई ड्यूटी नहीं भरनी थी. Only the company availed the benefit of tax-free trading. However, many officers who were engaged in the private trade did not pay the taxes as well. So जो प्राइवेट टैक्स में थे वो भी टैक्स नहीं दे रहे थे, ब्रिटिश ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी भी टैक्स नहीं दे रही थी. As a result, the income generated from the tax collection in Bengal reduced with the turn was opposed by the Nawab of Bengal. अब इससे क्या हुआ, बंगाल में जो टैक्स कलेक्शन की एक इनकम होनी चाहिए थी वो घट गई. इसका विरोध किसने किया, बंगाल के नवाब ने. एंड नवाब ऑफ बंगाल मुर्शिद कुली खान, and this dispute kept on recurring even during the time of Ali Vardi Khan. After the Ali Vardi Khan, his son Sirajud-Dौla took the charge. सबसे पहले इसका विरोध किसने किया, मुर्शिद कुली खान ने. मुर्शिद कुली खान के बाद इसका विरोध किसने किया, अली वर्दी खान ने. और अली वर्दी खान का बेटा कौन था, सिराजुद्दौला. और सिराजुद्दौला ने भी अंग्रेजों के इस बात का विरोध किया. And he got involved into the major battle with the British. और सबसे पहला जिसको हमने टर्निंग पॉइंट कहा इंडियन हिस्ट्री का, 1757 बैटल ऑफ प्लासी, 1764 बैटल ऑफ बक्सर, एंड फिर हमने पढ़ा 1857 फर्स्ट रिवॉल्ट ऑफ फ्रीडम. सो Sirajud-Dowla became the Nawab of Bengal in the year of 1756. 1756 में सिराजुद्दौला राजा बना और 1757 में तो बैटल ऑफ प्लासी हो चुका था. So he had an overwhelming influence over the British. The British helped the competitor of Sirajud-Dowla by the conspiracy against him so that would not remain on the थ्रोन ऑफ द बंगाल. सो 1757 में बैटल ऑफ प्लासी हुई और बैटल ऑफ प्लासी में डिवाइड एंड रूल पॉलिसी, एंड दिस पॉलिसी वाज लाइक undertaken by the Britisher, and anyhow they won the battle of Plassey. See, in next lecture, in this revision lecture, we will going to talk about the Battle of Plassey and Battle of Buxar, and how the Britishers set up their rule in our country. So that point we will discuss in next lecture. So let's write today's homework. Homework for the day. See, this is, as it is a revision lecture, so you have to revise the entire thing. Okay. So this is very important point that you should keep in mind. So what point I would like to write a note. Let's do something new work. Write a short note. Okay. So first, can we go with the few explorer who came to our country? Okay. So let's write on the Christopher Columbus. Then you should know about the Vasco da Gama, and one more point you should write about the French. See, this 3 point you should keep in mind. Then while we are talking about the arrival of the Europeans, a number of Europeans, they came to our country. The first who tried to explore our country was the Christopher Columbus. Okay. एक्सीडेंटली ही इन्वेंटेड और ही एक्सप्लोर द अमेरिका. लाइफ टाइम उसने ऐसा ही सोचा था कि ये इंडिया है, इसीलिए उसके नेटिव को उसके नाम क्या दिया था, रेड इंडियंस. बट हेलो. देन कम्स द क्रिस्टोफर कोलंबस. सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल क्रिस्टोफर कोलंबस के बाद वास्को द गामा. वास्को द गामा कैप ऑफ गुड होप से इब्न मजीद के साथ आया था. सी इट इज नॉट गिवन इन योर बुक, पर आपको ये पता होना चाहिए. इब्न मजीद भारतीय सेलर था जो वास्को द गामा को लेके आया था. एंड थर्ड पॉइंट यू शुड नो अबाउट द फ्रेंच. So student, this is your homework for the day. In next revision lecture we will talk about the battle of Plassey and battle of Buxar. So till then please read the entire lesson as we have already started our revision part. Okay, so thank you, take care and goodbye.